Time and time again, I'll be watching games and I'll see a lot of new players and even established pro players. They'll get into that key 50 spot and they'll give their position away right away by just engaging the enemy. So if I can capitalize on that and I do get into the center 50 unnoticed, what I want to do is I kind of want to hunch down and hide in there and don't let the opponents know that I'm in there. So what I do is instead of engaging them right in front of me, I sit back a little bit and wait for the player to move into the snake or the Doritos. And I'll just be keyed up on that one little spot where he has to dive, and 9 out of 10 times I'm going to shoot him all at the side of the body.
A little tip I like to show you guys is a little snake action. I call it the doo-wop loop-de-loo. Basically how it goes is if there's a guy in your mirror or in the next snake notch up from you, your main problem is obviously dealing with that guy in front of you. Either you can try to snap shoot him out, try to go bunker him, or whatever. But I think a really effective way trying to work him out of there is this little technique I like to show you guys. Basically how it works is you exchange with your opponent a couple times on the tape, or just let him have dominance on you on the tape. Take a step inside, pop over the top of your bunker, and you'll have a shot at the edge of his goggles and the edge of his loader and maybe his elbow. So basically, you can only try this once or twice maybe in a game, and it only works when you can pop over the top of your bunker, obviously. But it's a little baiting technique, and definitely has worked for me and saved many games for people that I've seen. So, you can whip it out when the game's on the line.
I play the snake corner, so a big part of the snake corner is staying in control down the tape, and by doing so, you have to be in a firefight for most of the entire game with your mirror. So one thing that I really look for is I watch the person who's playing my mirror in the snake corner watching their paint coming in. So most of the time I'm so used to the length of the field I can keep my gun up at the right angle. So I know the paint's coming in on them. I'm just watching their paint coming on me so I stay out of their way. If for some reason they get the advantage, maybe I'm not loading with my gun up and they start owning the tape, I'll do other sort of ways to gain control of the wire. Like if I can safely wrap inside and shoot my guy in for a quick second and then come back up and control the tape, I'll do that. Or if I need to, I'll drop to a lower spot in the bunker, come out, try to gain control again. Alright, so I normally always play the snake corner because I'm one of those players that will get in the snake. If anything bad happens, we lose Angel out of the snake, I could quickly get in there and take care of business, put some people down. If you're a back player and you don't play the snake, this is not the position for you. You should not play the snake corner.
Nowadays, I see a lot of kids trying to close out games, and instead of thinking and getting to your spot and looking around and using what you have, using bunkers to block other guys out, they'll just run blazing down the field and get shot to pieces by the two corner guys. The two guys in the back really know how to stay alive. And just by giving them a free body, sprinting down the field, that's what they're planning on you doing. So they're waiting for that. They're waiting for it to get a body sprinting down the field, and that's a free kill to them. You don't want to give them that advantage. You're up on bodies. You want to keep it up on bodies, and you want to make sure that you don't lose anybody on that attack. And I really like to take the time to look around, use my other players to put people in, get into sneaky spots, shoot that guy in the loader, and then go run and bunker the last guy.
The thing that I'd like people to realize is that paintball, as in any other sport, the more competitive you play, the higher levels you get as you progress, you're going to deal with a lot more pressure, a lot more people that, really want what you have. Smart man once told me paintball is 1% running out here and 99% in your mind. As long as you can have the confidence in yourself to actually truly believe, I've worked hard, I've come to practice, I've played many days in the heat, in the cold, in the rain, whatever it is. I've prepared myself for this, You always hear Alex Frady talking about heart. That's the thing, that sets us apart, because deep down in here, everybody really wants it. Everybody's like, this is the one thing that I strive hardest for in my life, to be. And, in my heart, that's what I really want. And in my mind, I believe that I can do it. Strong, mentally prepared, physically tested individuals who just happen to be dashingly good looking, every single last one of them.
Don't you want to look for in a team? Like, what shouldn't you do as a sponsored team?
Some of the things we're not looking for are teams that are not loyal. For example, you get a lot of players, they just, every time someone gives them something free, they switch. Right. So they're constantly, what's in it for me, what's in it for me, You cannot have that attitude, and you want to be loyal. If we look at a resume and it's like, well, they were PMI this week, National this week, and Die, and then JT, and, the manufacturers all talk. I mean, it's a small industry. We don't like to see teams jump around. Another thing that we don't like in teams is when they go out to a local field and they just beat up on all the new players. You know, that's the worst thing. You're not doing the industry a service that way. You're not doing us a service. You're giving us a bad name, and along with the field operator. You know, what kills me is when the team gets up there on the podium and they're not wearing anybody's logo. You know, you sponsored them, and that doesn't do us any good. You know, so we need you to represent. You know, you need to wear our hats and things like that, and our shirts at school. So you do need to go out and become an ambassador of the sport. Put together a nice resume, you know, pictures, wearing our products. I like to see teams that play every weekend, you know, and I like to see a history. If you commit for a year or a year and a half and you're playing every weekend and you're showing that support and you're working with the local stores and fields, you know, you might support different charities, you know, with paintball, help out with growing the sport. That on a resume looks great to me. You know, I'm going to say, wow, these guys work with the church group. They have a high school club, and some of their players play on a college team. Okay, that's a team that I can market and get behind. But again, it's a huge commitment. You know, it's a lifestyle. You have to be able to live the life of a paintball player. And those players that do that and make the dedication, those are the ones we're seeking to get a JT sponsorship.